Mine's Oh. Hello, everyone. You are listening to the O. Charles Show. I'm your host, Charlie Charles. Let's get started. First of all, I hope you have a wonderful 2026. I think it's going to be a fun year of adventure, so let's go into it with that attitude, right? I am going to talk today about how to make New Year's resolutions. We'll include a couple options if committing to a hard and fast, I will run this many miles scares you. There's options for that, and there's ways to make things doable and enjoyable. So that's our goal today. And then bonus, every month there's going to be a challenge for you. So there's some options you can pick from if you'd like to do a little challenge, and then we'll have an update on that at the end of the month. So let's get started. First of all, I love making New Year's resolutions, and I know that it's not necessarily for everyone. A lot of people have tried in the past and sort of get discouraged with themselves because if they don't meet the goals, it's kind of like, oh, did I fail? What did I do? I didn't make it, so now I don't feel like I've accomplished anything this year, and it can be kind of discouraging. I think of it more as it's like writing a list to Santa Claus, except to myself. And also God, too, because part of my goals are to grow in my faith with God and my walk with God, too. So I like to think of, what are some complicated baking projects that I want to give myself an excuse to do, which also includes crying over them and messing up the entire kitchen and generally making my whole family suffer from disastrous outcomes of things which normally turn out okay, but just not like the picture, and then I'm super upset. But anyway, aside from it gives me an excuse to do that because I actually like doing that, and some people would say that sounds like torture. I don't even like making cereal for myself, but to me, the idea of fun is crying over French macarons, apparently, which are actually very hard, and I've only made once, and I'm going to try and do them again this year, so naturally, I put it on my New Year's resolutions because now I have to. Although I put it on there last year and I didn't, so it kind of goes both ways. It can backfire. But last year I made 88 New Year's resolutions, by the way, and I did 46 of them, which is 52.2%, which is an F letter grade. So I calculated all that for my own knowledge. And you know what? I don't look at that as a fail. I look at that F as a fantastic because, hey, anything I do in the year extra is always a bonus. So I think that's a good way to look at it too. Don't consider it as I failed. Think of, well, look what I actually did. I don't think of it as, even if I put check boxes on the paper, I don't think of it as a list of proving my value to myself in any sort of way. I just think of it as how can I grow and how can I improve? So that's how I like to think of it. Another thing to consider is how realistic are these goals? Because that can be discouraging as well. If you're setting goals for yourself that you're never going to reach unless you happen to be an Olympic athlete, that's going to make you discouraged naturally. So probably writing 88 goals was a little extreme. I just have fun with that. But some goals are going to be way too hard or not able to be accomplished. And so for those types of situations, it would be really helpful to break them down. So one of my goals I put last year was be stressed less. Obviously, I did not check that off. And what would a better goal have been? A better goal would have been don't react verbally to a stressful situation in panic. Because I have a tendency to go, oh no, I can't find my lab report. Oh my gosh, and then everybody in the house is like, I haven't stolen your lab report. And no, my dog did not eat it. Although she does like eating trash, she does not eat my homework. So nobody took it. It is somewhere. And then Mom says, have you looked in your school cabinet? Well, no, I didn't put it there, and then it's in there, right? So reacting verbally isn't worth it. But you see, that's way more attainable than don't be stressed. So now, let's get into the fun part. How do you want to write your New Year's resolutions if you decide to make any? For some people, a small list that they know they can complete, but that's just a little bit outside of what they would normally do, is the most helpful. So I know a member of my family writes about 4 or 5 goals, They're goals that he knows he can do, but they require effort. So a lot of them are doing something every day, which he has done in the past, but that just requires consistency and dedication. So that's a great way to sort of discipline your body and mind in that way. So another member of my family likes to organize her goals under headings. So exercise goals, family goals, friends goals, and family and friends goals would be things you want to do with those people in your life. Or I guess if you're a parent, maybe you set a goal to encourage an environment of respectful speech in your house, or to encourage a personal walk of faith with each of your children, or we are going to focus on getting out the door on time, which rarely happens for me. I think that would be a good goal. I should have added that to my long list, and maybe I will, because we still have our goals on the kitchen table, and I probably will add that. Yeah, but beside the point. Or is it? Not really. That would be a great goal, actually. But continuing on with the headings, I did that this year, kind of. I did my first page of headings. So for me, I had academic goals, I had spiritual goals, physical/exercise goals. So those are related to like health, movement, stuff like that. And then on the other side, I just put other, and then I wrote a long list of fun goals like my baking projects. I also thought of a new method of doing a goal this year that might be helpful to you. So last year I put, I want to run 250 miles. Now, I'm an active person, a healthy person. I love, keeping my body healthy, and obviously I want to be able to do fun things, so I exercise. Mainly, I want to eat fun things, so I exercise. I really want to live to 100, and so it seems to be that if you care about staying healthy, that'll help get you there. Not always, but it's a start. And so last year I put 250 miles. Now I do a lot of other stuff. I did swimming and diving in the summer. I did softball in the fall. I just didn't make it. I did 156 miles, which is great multiple members of my family ran 100 miles in the month of December. Okay, so for them, this goal of 250 miles would have been achievable in about 3 months, or a fourth of the year. For me, though, we're all very busy, and I just didn't get there. So that's kind of a failure if you look at it from a standard viewpoint, but I don't really care that much because I wrote 88 goals, so there were other ones I could check off. That's why you write goals like turn the next age you're going to be, or great goal that Uncle Tex made up, don't puke. Guys, vomiting is very bad for you. It's bad for your throat, and you don't want that stomach acid messing up your vocal cords, your throat, whatever. So don't puke is a great goal. Also, beat Bobby Flay. That's very achievable and something you will get to. That just keeps it lighthearted, okay? I thought that was a really great idea, because is he going to beat Bobby Flay? I don't think so, but you know what? If he beats Bobby Flay in his head, I think that's great. He does make great mac and cheese, though. Every family gathering, we get Uncle Tex's mac and cheese. So I think that probably beats Bobby Flay's mac and cheese. And if I ever happen to have Bobby Flay interviewed on this show, then I will just go back and edit this episode a little bit. But, so I decided to make things a little more achievable, and instead of writing, I will run this many miles, I wrote, I ran blank miles this year. That way, any mile I run is a fill in the blank, and I win. And then next year, if I'm feeling competitive, I can just try and run one more mile than I did the last year. Or if I'm not feeling competitive, I can just do the same or less or whatever, You don't have to beat yourself up about it. Also, you can do that with other things too. So, for instance, if you run more than one 5K in a year, just write, I ran blank 5Ks in a year. If you know there's something you want to do and you want to get yourself to do it, rather than write, I have to start reading books, right? I read these books this year, and any book you read, even part of your chemistry textbook, is a book you can put on there. And then look, you've done it. You're great. Now, I have read a lot of the books that I love reading, and then I read them over again. So I didn't put, I'm reading this book or that book. I just put a blank there. Same with podcast episodes, because I'm starting it in the new year. So I just put, I will record this many amount of episodes, and then any that I do are great. Obviously, you can have goals in your head, like I want to get to 30 episodes, or I want to do 5Ks, but this just keeps it really easy. Also, like I said, do fun ones that you want to do. Don't set a goal that you can't stand, because then no, you're not going to do it. Try and think of why. Why are you actually doing it? Okay, some goals, yes. If your goal is to read the Bible every day, yes, do it. I mean, how are you going to grow in your relationship with God without listening to His Word? So yeah, read the Bible every day. But that has a clear why, and it might be hard, but there are ways you can do it to make it more accessible, which we'll cover in a different episode. Also, if your goal is do the splits, like mine was, which I'm working on right now, and my younger sister has been so great at joining me in stretches the past 3 days. We've done a stretching routine 3 times, but my little sister is joining me, and that just helps a lot. So maybe combine goals with somebody in your family or one of your friends. But why do I want to do the splits? 1, because it's cool, but 2, like I said, I want to live to 100, and I really want to be flexible. I don't want to get stuck in a shell, where you kind of don't stretch and then you're kind of stuck. I want to just get that process going and still be able to do the splits when I'm 100, which I think would just be an awesome way to show off for your grandkids. I mean, who doesn't want to just do the splits for their grandkids, It's a good idea. What I'm trying to say is, there are lots of fun things you can do this year, and you can just put that on a list and check it off and make yourself really excited. So I put make croissants, make macarons, do the splits was one. What other fun ones did I put on there? I don't know. I put a bunch of fun ones. I put have a fun adventure. My favorite ones are the fun ones, like organize your photos, do a cross-stitch project, do something overly complicated. I love doing overly complicated stuff, but there are great ways you can simplify the overcomplicatedness to make it achievable, which is what I'm trying to explain here with the New Year's resolutions, obviously. Hopefully that is not too confusing with all my little side notes about New Year's resolutions, but now we've got to the point where we talk about the January challenge. So, January challenge is, first of all, I've got a couple ideas here for you, and then you can take those ideas and see where it gets you. Maybe it aligns with one of your goals already, and then this is just a little motivation, right? So, by the end of the month, I'll do a little episode about, at the end of one, I'll just say, like, here's how I'm doing on these. So, I've got, right now in my head, I've got 3 that you could do with me this month. Okay, first, I mentioned I want to do the splits. There are a bunch of 10-minute split stretching routines you could find online. There's an app called Bend that goes through one. They're not that hard and they're not that painful, at least they haven't been for me. So do one of those about every day. That's what I'm going to try and do. We'll see if I'm actually successful. This is a live challenge. I'm actually going to try and do this. This is not a made-up thing like, hey guys, I'm on social media and I am going to help you get your splits, but I've been doing splits since I was 0 years old. No, I have not ever been able to do the splits, and so this is... Okay, my mom has a great story about the splits. One time she was a kid, and she was like, well, Barbie can do the splits, so can I. And she just did the splits. But unfortunately, I'm past the imitate Barbie doing the splits age, so now I have to really work for it, and that's what I'm actually going to try and do. So if you want to join me, that's great. I hope you do, because it's probably good for you. But I mean, obviously, don't hurt yourself. I am not a doctor. I cannot claim responsibility for any injuries, so do the splits responsibly. And I'm sure there's a toll-free hotline you can call if you need help with your obsessive stretching problem. The next goal is read one book from Lord of the Rings. A lot of people just watch the movie. They haven't read the book. They're like, well, the movie was okay, or I didn't really like the movie, or whatever. Read the book. It's totally different. get through one of them. It's a big book. Then there are 3 books in the series, so you can check off 3 books on your New Year's resolution list. Go back and read 3 books on your New Year's resolution list, and if you read Lord of the Rings, you'll be good to go. My dad already read them to me when I was younger. I went back to read them because I love appreciating classic fiction, and J.R.R. Tolkien has an amazing writing style that I appreciate even more the more times I read it. So I've already got through the first 2 books, and that was kind of by skimming/reading. So I do skim through the descriptions a little bit, but one of these days I'll go back and highlight them all. Actually, don't highlight every word when you highlight stuff because then it doesn't stick out. I would recommend highlighting good quotes because there are some really good ones, but don't highlight everything. The 3rd book I have started to read again. So if you want to read those are great to read and just probably wholesome for your brain. They're way more wholesome than reading a modern fiction book with dragons and bad romance. So I would recommend it. Next and final goal. This is a bit of a stretch, maybe for all of us. I signed up for a bunch of email things in December, and I get emails under a fake name that I actually use. So a lot of emails coming to me saying, Bob, check out this discounted price on tea. Bob, get this customized pen. My name is not Bob, so I don't need to be checking those emails all the time, do I? This is how you could trick yourself. Actually, it is really fun getting a package addressed to Bob when your name is not Bob, except when the postman goes, this is your address but not your name. So I don't know if this is for you. And then you have to say, I think the person that ordered that was just having fun with the name. And then he goes, oh, and gives you the package. And then you're like, that was me secretly. So maybe don't do that, but it is kind of fun to get emails to Bob. At the same time, you don't need to look at emails that aren't for you. I guess my idea is to check email and text one time in the morning and one time in the evening. So depending on the day, it's a different time. So probably during the school year, it would be like 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And obviously, if you get a text from somebody and you could communicate with them in the moment, that's a little bit different. What I'm saying more for me is checking when there's nothing I need to check, or looking up something when it's not urgent. I can just wait for that time to do it. And then you have designated time, and it's not sort of calling to you during the day. I tried that today, and it's been great. It's good to have those limits for even your own mind. So my challenge to you is, if you'd like to pick challenge number 3, which is maybe the hardest for some people and maybe the easiest for others, don't check your phone randomly for stuff unless your parent wants to know, did my text come through, whatever. Don't go extreme, but don't check your phone during the day. Just pick 2 times, morning and evening, to check your phone, and there you go. I mean, you'll automatically reduce your screen time and probably check off a New Year's goal. If that was one of yours, make it one of yours right now, and you could check it off. So there's my spiel on challenges. We've got 1, do the split stretches every day for about 10 minutes. 2, read a book from Lord of the Rings. Or 3, reduce your Google/email/text time to a morning and evening. So I hope that you've gotten some ideas for writing your own New Year's resolutions, maybe making it more exciting or fun or less stressful. And I also hope that you'll pick one of the challenges. Let me know in the comments what you think, but please be appropriate, because everybody's going to read these in my family, and guess what? They don't want to read swear words because nobody does. And you know what? If you're going to type swear words into a Spotify comment, that should be your New Year's resolution not to do that anymore. So let me give you a reason to check off the box of writing a nice Spotify comment, or writing a respectfully disagreeing comment. That's fine too. Just something that if your mom was looking over your shoulder, you'd be like, yeah, Mom, look what I wrote. She'd say, oh, what a good little boy you are, or girl. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a very blessed 2026. Let me know how your New Year's resolutions go, or let your family know, because they probably are going to be it's fun to read family New Year's resolutions. Clearly, I've read some of my family members, and it's great to see what everybody's trying to do. And maybe they're the same, maybe they're different, so it's really a neat experience. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you come back to listen to our next episode. Thanks. This is the O. Charles Show, over and out.